The Turbo and 2K Show.
What's up, 2K crew? It is that time of the week again in 2Ks. Guess what?
Fucking
Baseball.
time.
Here we go. Let's fucking go, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, football is fun. Football is amazing. Football is probably, when it comes to viewing experience, probably not one of the best watching experiences, but something that's more near and dear to mine and your hearts is baseball. That's our sport. That's what we're ride or die with. And we really didn't touch on pitchers and catchers, reporting a couple weeks ago. But we have, I want to say today or tomorrow. I know there's a big kickoff on Saturday. Spring training baseball is here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's clap it up. There we go. Here we go. We made it. It is baseball season. Today we're going to talk about some future bets, but better yet, some 2Ks is going to help me break down the Tigers, and he's going to help me break down the Red Sox because, I mean, honestly, we're kind of both at the same kind of state here. So give you our breakdown, give you our opinions. For those of you that are in the chat, watching us live, we do appreciate each and every one of you. Go ahead and drop a comment. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and who's your favorite baseball team. and we'll see if we can't squeeze you in here as well. Yes, we are live from the 643 studio here at the Marcellus News. Big shout out to Kay and the crew for having us. Drop down in the comments, marcellusnews.com. Get your virtual or paper copy, and it's the only newspaper in the world, 2Ks, that cares about Marcellus. So big shout out to them. And yeah, I've got a boatload of tweets here. I honestly, 2Ks, thought that Red Sox Twitter was extremely negative and extremely toxic. But once I jumped into Tigers, wow, it is not much different. It is not much different.
No, and a lot of the problem with the Tigers is that it's been a long time now. At least Boston's been able to compete here in recent years. Hell, they've got a World Series here that's pretty recent.
Yeah.
The Tigers, it's been a while. It's been a long time. I think we've been kind of fooled here in the last few years where our expectations have been super, super high. Even last year they were able to kind of get our expectations up a little bit higher than. It wasn't like they were saying we were going to be competing for a World Series or anything like that. But I think
at least competing for the division.
We thought that we were going to be competing for a division last year, and
in an extremely weak.
Yeah.
And it's still. Mm-hmm. As far as the Central is concerned, there hasn't been a whole lot of movement. Probably the biggest acquisition was the Twins getting Correa back after like 3 teams. Doctors said, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. And the bad part about my Red Sox is that, did they get better? I think they got better long term.
Yeah.
But the bad news is all the other teams in that division got way better.
Yeah.
Way better, which is scary as shit. We'll jump into that, and we'll give you our top 5 at the end of the show. And top 5 is actually kind of fun this week. We've had fun with the top 5 each and every week we've done it. And I won't let the cat out of the bag until we get there, because I want you guys to stay locked in, grab a drink. We're in for a good time. 2Ks. Actually, but before we get into that, again, thank you each and every one of you that are watching live. Jason is here. It's his Facebook user, Jason here. What's up, Jason? Says, go Blue Jays. I'm assuming that's him.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah.
I don't hate him. I don't hate him.
Big Vladdy fan, big Bo Bichette fan. Mm-hmm. I'm right there with you. They got way better. Mm-hmm. They got way better. Where my Red Sox didn't. Mm-hmm. I can't really say that. They did make some sneaky.
They did. I think with the Red Sox, you see some of those big names that have left here in recent years. Yes. Xander Bogaerts here is the fresh one, but even if you go before that, the Mookie Betts leaving and going to LA. Boston's getting, like you said earlier, they're getting better in the future, and they are. They have a lot of young talent. They have a lot of depth. This is going to be a team that I think is going to surprise.
Yeah.
When the season gets going here, I think when we get into a little bit deeper into the summer, they're going to be better than what we believe right now at the beginning of the year.
I hope so. For everyone that is watching live on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you get notified every time we go live. And for those of you on the podcast side, go ahead and give us a follow, give us a like. It helps move us up into the rankings of the top sports podcasts. But before we do that, 2Ks, let's give Lil Boozy a cheer.
What's up, Lil Boozy?
What's up, brother? Good to see you. Have we figured out who's his favorite team yet? He looks like a Brewers fan.
Yeah. As much Miller Lite as we always drink here.
Yeah.
Might as well be.
Then if you've ever been to a Brewers game, there's a lot of folks just like that. Because it's the only baseball stadium I've ever been to that you tailgate at. Because it's not downtown like a lot of other stadiums. So, yeah. Little Boozy is
he's a Brewers fan.
He's a Brewers fan. I like it. Corbin Burns. Big news out of there. He's pissed. He's pissed, and I don't blame him. But let's start the show, 2Ks, with some future bets here. What do you say?
Yep.
And when I was pulling these off, I forgot to. I might have sent it to you, and I'm not sure. So let me check my messages here. I downloaded the NL MVP, but not the AL MVP. Yep, I did not do that. Let's start with this one first. The one where it kind of breaks down the teams into contenders, makes the playoffs, makes the wild card, just miss, or LOL. And let's point out two teams we've been talking about. My Red Sox, your Tigers. My Red Sox are in the miss. Your Tigers are in the LOL.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually reverse those, to be honest with you. Just because the division they play in,
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that the Tigers are going to do a little bit better than expectations. And I think...
but expectations are over 100 losses.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, which I would be very shocked if that was the case. I would be very shocked. Just because, like we talk about, the division is probably the weakest division in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And the Red Sox play in arguably one of the best divisions in baseball. So, but now that we've kind of put our teams to rest, let's look at the top of this. The contenders: Braves, Astros, Dodgers, Padres. Is there any teams out of that 2Ks that you would move down? And if you do, who would you replace them with? Or do you think they're about right?
I can't see how I could move any of those 4 out of contenders. I would probably add another team or two to the contenders.
Because we've got only one American League team there
Yeah.
in the Astros. And 2 of those teams are in the same fucking division.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you can't have 2 contenders in the same division, but ultimately there's only one division winner. Granted, the other one would probably get, obviously a wild card spot.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, those 2 teams have to play each other a lot.
Sure.
And San Diego, we've seen make a lot of moves. The Dodgers, not so much. I mean, Turner, they let walk. We welcomed him with open arms to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be a very, very great addition to my Red Sox team. But especially with that beard and that flow, are you kidding me? He's made for Boston, dude. And if I'm not mistaken, already took the number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Red Sox fans are forced to move on from that number 2 very, very quickly. But if you were to add 2Ks, who else would you add up there?
Just first one that kind of blows my mind that they're not there is Mets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pitching staff that they have. I understand DeGrom's gone now, but you brought in Verlander.
Yeah.
So I mean, you replaced him with.
Probably the next best thing.
Yeah.
Or an even better option.
I would say at this point in their careers, I probably would rather have DeGrom, but Verlander just seems like he just keeps on getting better. Right when you think that, he's too old, he can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Shit, he missed a whole year. Hey, he's not going to be able to come back from it. Fuck, last year, it was like he had never missed a beat and, pitched him all the way to winning another World Series. So
arguably his best season.
Yeah, I mean,
ever.
On paper right now, I probably believe DeGrom's the better pitcher, but as far as a playoff game and a playoff situation, if I have to pick one guy for a Game 7 between those 2, I'm probably taking Verlander.
Even though Verlander has been shaky in the playoffs,
Still has one, And the other thing that comes with DeGrom, and it's nothing of, not you can't blame it on him, not his fault, but he's wherever he pitches, he just can't seem to get any run support. So maybe that's just something. I don't know. Maybe it will improve for him now with him and being with the Rangers. I don't know, but
the Rangers weren't any good last year.
No.
I mean, they brought in Corey Seager, probably the biggest free agent splash.
They went out and grabbed 2 shortstops. I mean,
Yeah.
it was the offseason to go get a shortstop, and they went and grabbed 2 of them.
Yeah, and we'll get into the Tigers' choice of that said shortstop here in a little bit, but no, I'm right there with you. The Mets were this close, and by all rights, if DeGrom is healthy all year, I think they make a very, very long push, possibly to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not a long shot that they do that, but as far as some of these other teams, I mean. I think the Phillies.
Got to count them in. I mean, they were in the World Series last year.
Yep.
That's the thing with baseball too. Is it's you can try to figure this all out before the season even starts, but every team's going to go through injuries.
Oh, yeah.
Some teams are going to go through it more than others. And to me, when it gets to the playoffs, when it gets to that time, it's what teams have kind of survived the best. They haven't. Mm-hmm. They don't have near as many injuries to their to their pitching staff when it gets late in the season. And then also what we've kind of seen here in recent years is what these teams do and how active they are when it comes trade deadline time. When you get to the end of the summer, when the playoffs are about to start, it's usually the teams that are not afraid to go out and maybe get rid of a couple of those high-end prospects and add guys that are going to help. These are teams that could be completely different when we get out of August and go into September and get closer into that playoff baseball. So to me, I almost would say I'm almost to the point where I would say I would get rid of the whole playoff category and just say contenders, and I have all those teams that are in the playoff category in as contenders, because I think all these teams could possibly compete.
By the way, it's your boy Jason Davenport. What's up, brother? How we doing? But no, like I said, this is. You and I were talking about before we went live the White Sox last year. We all thought they were just going to run away with the Central Division. Wouldn't even be a challenge. That team stunk.
Yeah,
they stunk. They were way below expectations. So how are the Phillies going to do without Bryce for the vast majority of the year or the entire year? The Yankees. Judge is not going to hit 62 home runs again.
No, but he's probably going to be in that 50 category. I mean, judging by everything that we watched.
If he stays healthy.
Yeah. That's the thing with him. If he is healthy, though, and they still play in that cracker box, that they have there in New York. So all he has to do is really just get good bat on it. And the thing is, he's going to have a chance to hit one out every time. So I would expect him to be right around that 50 mark again this year. And
the scary team out of the two teams that I'm keeping an eye on, wild carding up, are the Orioles. They're young. They were arguably the best team in baseball the last half of the season.
They have a lot of young talent.
Yes.
And are they exciting?
Yes.
They're an exciting team. Like, you start thinking of teams like, for me as a Tigers fan, a lot of these young kids coming up, and then we were kind of let down last year. They just didn't perform. I'm talking Spencer Torkelson, just did not perform. I think the way that we thought. Now these young kids, Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson, another big one, and they have some young talent that's coming up that's very exciting. Baltimore fans have a lot to be excited about here. Maybe this year's not their year, maybe next year's not, but their time is coming.
Yeah, and excuse me, the Orioles are kind of in the same boat as the Red Sox as far as the division they play in. But I think that, where the Orioles have been kind of the cellar dwellers in that division for the last decade, I think they might actually win. They have the chance to win this division. Now, I think the Rays are going to have something to say about that. They always do.
Cubs.
They always do.
I like the Cubs.
And you can never count out the Cardinals.
Yeah.
No matter how many times any analyst, and I'm throwing our hat into that ring as well, every time that we kind of just forget or bypass the Cardinals, they end up in the postseason. And they don't just end up in the postseason.
They go deep.
But they make a run.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you're losing Yachty, but they replace him with arguably one of the best catchers in baseball, with Contreras, which I think is a steal, an absolute steal.
I mean, at this point in their careers, let's be real for a second. And Yachty in the last 3 or 4 years, and Contreras in the last 3 or 4 years, I'm taking Contreras. Every day of the week.
Yeah.
Like, Yachty's a Hall of Famer, probably the best to ever do it, and especially longevity, how long he did it for. But in the recent years, and I think sometimes we get so caught up in what they've done throughout their entire career and the name on the back of their jersey. But if we're looking at who the better baseball player is right now, William Contreras is the guy.
And especially offensively. I mean, as far as defensively goes, Yachty could still probably lace it up for another 3 or 4 years, but it was time. It was time. It was time. But kind of the shocker on this list, 2Ks, is the team we talked about, the White Sox, being down in that LOL. This team's loaded.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to get to a tweet later that, they've got a Cy Young candidate. It's kind of hard to be a Cy Young candidate when your team's an LOL team. I mean, and let's take a look at the LOL teams. A's, when you pretty much do a fire sale and get rid of your top talent, yeah, you're going to be an LOL team. Tigers, rebuilding, ton of young kids.
Never-ending rebuild, yeah.
The Rockies are the Rockies. I mean, the Reds, is Joey Votto retired yet?
No.
He probably should.
Yeah.
Washington hasn't been the same since they won the World Series. The Pirates are the Pirates. I mean, let's be honest. Even though that Pirates
that
team
have some
is
young
very
talent,
young.
that's
Very
very.
young.
I mean, O'Neal Cruz, Brian Hayes,
Yeah.
like there's some young guys there that kind of the same boat. I don't think that they're at that level that maybe Baltimore is right now, but those are two teams that are fairly similar to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Baltimore right now is a wild card. Look, I know they were hot last year, but I think maybe right now that's a little bit premature to me. They're very young. There's a lot to be excited about, but to have them ahead of some of these other teams that I see on the just miss list, I don't know if I'm ready to put Baltimore there at that point right now. Especially, like we said earlier, that division is a gauntlet. So
Yeah.
what they have to go to and what they're going to be playing, having to go against Boston and the Yankees and Toronto. I mean, there's no easy wins in that division.
Jason says Blue Jays was a joke, by the way. Let's go Marlins. And he also said, I just got signed by the Tennessee whiskey team. Attaboy, brother. Attaboy. Attaboy. Hopefully you got hooked up real good. Real good. But no, there's some teams here that it's like, okay, I honestly, you can't argue any of the contenders, those four need to be there. You could add a couple, but as far as taking those four away and replacing them with any of them, I think they nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they nailed it. The playoffs, I see all these teams making the playoffs. The wild card, I see all the. I might. Sorry, Lil Boozy. I might put the Cubs above the Brewers right now, but I need to see that Cubs team. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a revamped team. They spent some money. I do think that Cubs team is going to be very good, but are they better than the Brewers? I'm not sure yet. I could see the Blue Jays hopping the Orioles. The Blue Jays made a lot of good moves, and that's a really good team. And we kind of have to stop saying that the Blue Jays are a young team.
Yeah.
Even though they are. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, chronologically, they are.
Yeah.
But Bichette is in, year 3 or 4? Yachty's in year 4 or 5. So, Vladdy, not Yachty, sorry. But it's kind of getting to that point with the Blue Jays. This is a shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, I totally agree. And to me, I mean, we know what that lineup is capable of. Can the pitching come around? You have Manoah, who's been great, but who's the next guy in line? Who's going to start? Yep. Who's going to follow up? And to me, that's kind of been their Achilles heel that they've had in the last few years. Is their lineup is lethal. I put their lineup against just about anybody in baseball, but they can't pitch it.
Yeah. And
I'm talking bullpen, I'm talking starters. They have to get better in that category if they're going to be able to pitch their way through a Yankees lineup and pitch their way through that up-and-coming Orioles lineup and pitch their way through Boston. So Boston's lineup is going to be better. To me, they're going to be better this year than what they were last. So that's where can they pitch the ball better? The lineup, they can match, like I said, they can match up with anybody. So.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree.
One of the things that kind of jumps off at me here, and I know we're getting down towards the bottom of the list where these teams really don't matter a whole lot, but I noticed that the Angels are on the miss and not in the LOL. To me, they should be in the fucking LOL. This has been the biggest failure. The biggest failure in all of baseball has to be the Angels. Mm-hmm. They have the longest time without making the playoffs, and anybody in recent years in baseball. They haven't had a winning season in 7 years. And in that time, in the full 7 years, you've had Mike Trout, who we consider the best player in baseball. Well, now in the last 4 years, maybe 5, you have arguably the new best player in baseball in Shohei Ohtani, and you still can't get to the playoffs. And so to me, they're the biggest LOL in this whole situation. Like I can laugh my ass off at the Tigers and how shitty they've been, and the White Sox and how they blew it last year when they were a favorite to go on and win that division, and the A's because they've always sucked, and the Pirates because they've always sucked. But to me, the Angels are the team that everybody should be sitting back laughing at, because you have those two guys and you have completely fucking wasted it
Yeah, you have a $400 million man on your roster in his prime.
About to have 2.
Oh no, Shohei's gone. Shohei's gone.
You think I mean, you got to imagine they're going to offer
sure,
somewhere close to that.
Sure, but if you're Shohei and you get just the same amount of money or a little bit lower from the Yankees, I want to go somewhere I can win.
Sure. Or the Angels have to prove it to them that they're going to try.
Yeah,
they're going to try to go out and help, but they haven't been able. I mean, and that's to me, they're the same thing. They have no pitching.
No.
And if you look at their lineup outside of Trout and him, where do you look at a bat and think, oh, that's they have just a bunch of
Rendon,
yeah,
who's hurt all the time.
Who's hurt? Yep.
Who's hurt all the time.
He's been. I mean, that's just been a terrible signing coming off the World Series year where he was the MVP and of that World Series, and he's just been shit ever since he got there.
Yeah, which everyone was super stoked at that contract. I wasn't really impressed. I was never really impressed with him. Period. Not to say he's 2K crew. He's probably a really nice guy. Don't get me wrong. On the field, he never really impressed me.
Well, I think he fell into that category where he was coming off of a World Series, coming off an MVP, and the Angels were just trying to grasp at anything they could to match up with Trout, to match up with Ohtani. They were trying anything, and unfortunately, they've overpaid. It didn't work. It's been and hey, I'm a Tigers fan. I can tell you all about that. I know all about that situation. I've watched it play out many times.
Let's switch from that 2Ks to since I didn't for what I thought because these tweets were back to back, the NL MVP odds and the AL MVP odds. Well, let's jump into the NL MVP odds since that's the only one that I sent over. Kind of shocked with Juan Soto leading the chart, and I'm not shocked because he's not a good player, but coming off the last year that he had, and then I mean the top 3 here. I mean we've got Goldschmidt, who is a perennial, MVP candidate. Not to say that the guys before him aren't, but Tatis is coming off an injury and the PED suspension. Mookie Betts hasn't really had, in my opinion, an MVP season like he had with the Red Sox when he won the MVP. Then you got Soto there, which could Soto come out and have an absolute stellar blast? I mean, just a blast year? Absolutely. But at plus 550 to lead the charge here is kind of surprising to me. I would expect Goldschmidt to be higher. I would expect Arenado to be higher. I would actually expect Freddie Freeman to be above Manny Machado, even though Machado, this is a walk year. And Acuna had a shortened season because of an injury. Really didn't have that kind of splashy Acuna year, but the type of player he is, you have to put him in here. So, like I said, my big shock is Soto leading it and Tatis to be this high. What are your thoughts?
The Soto leading it doesn't really shock me. Coming off of for Soto, a very bad year. Obviously the batting average, the power numbers weren't there. The on-base percentage, phenomenal because he walks more than anybody in all of baseball. So he's got a great eye. You have to believe everything's going to improve. He's going to have a better average this year. He's going to have, I think he has way more home runs. He's going to start and finish his season with the same team. There's not going to be any drama of – last year we knew he was going to be moved. Yeah. It was just a matter of when and where was he going to go. And I think being a player and knowing that situation, that's got to be hard to play through. To where that – so I think I honestly think that's just right where he's at. I believe he's the best player in all of baseball right now. If there's anybody that I could have on my team right now, he's the guy. Now, Tatis being number 3 on the list, I can't. Great player, would not shock me if he does finish in the top 3. But right now, with some of these other names, I mean, we got Goldschmidt out. I get it. The odds are the same, but I'm just looking at where they have him ranked at. Goldschmidt's won it last year. Goldschmidt had a huge year. Nolan Arenado, let's not forget about him. I mean, he was probably number 2 on the list last year.
If it wasn't for Goldschmidt, he would have won it last year.
Yeah. So Nolan Arenado was one that but to me, the guy to really look out for, and the guy that I don't shock me if I end up putting $50, $100 on it. I like Ronald Acuna this year.
Oh, I thought you were going to go Trey Turner.
I like Ronald Acuna this year. I like Trey Turner because of some of the rule changes. I
Yeah.
think you're going to see the stolen bases for Turner go up, but I think you're going to see stolen bases go up for Acuna also. Some of these other guys on the list too. I think Tatis will steal more bases. I think
Freddie
Mookie will
Freeman
steal
and
more.
Pete Alonso are not stealing.
Freddie
no
Freeman
bases.
and Pete Alonso, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, they're probably not going to steal a lot of bases.
Mookie though.
Trey Turner, though, I think steals a lot of bases this year, so I like that. But I think Ronald Acuna,
I've been the biggest Acuna fan since he came up, and looking at this list, it makes my heart happy that he's still in the top, just because we're what have you done late?
Yeah.
What have you done for me lately? Type of society, and I guess you can say that with Tatis too.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I honestly thought the PED thing would just cancel him out of any postseason award, anything like that. And I guess it goes to show you how, if you're that good.
yeah.
Now, I think with Tatis, where is he going to play?
Where's he going to bat? That's my question with a lot of these guys, and why I think maybe when it comes down to it, I think Soto and Acuna have great years. I like the odds on Acuna, and that's probably where I would put my money at. But I like, as far as for the safety bet, I like Soto because I think Soto's going to be in the middle of that. He's going to be in that 3 spot of that lineup where he's going to have guys like Tatis around him, guys like Machado around him, guys like your boy Xander Bogaerts around him. He's going to have guys on base. He's going to have runs to bat in. I think the RBI numbers are going to be huge. To where Acuna in his lineup probably going to be leadoff guy.
He's been leadoff the last.
Yeah.
Unless he's hurt, then Albies was hitting leadoff.
Yeah, and I can't argue it, and I agree with it, because what you want to do is you want to get Acuna the most at-bats possible.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to MVP numbers, they're going to look at RBIs, and that's going to be a very important category. And when it comes down to it, I don't think there's any way possible that Acuna batting leadoff in that Braves lineup has more RBIs than Soto, maybe not even more RBIs than Machado. I think when it's all said and done, I don't really know how this lineup's going to shake out, but I think it's pretty safe to say Soto's either going to bat second or third. I think third. Third is where to me, I'm a big. If you can do it, if your lineup is capable of being able to do it, I think you have your best hitter at 3. With the Braves situation, you have Acuna, who's a catalyst. You run off of him, kind of a similar player to Tatis.
Yeah.
If you can get him in that first spot or the second spot in the lineup, that's where you want him.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing for me is kind of, let's see after a couple weeks of baseball where these lineups shake out and where they have them batting at, and then I kind of get a better idea of where that falls out. But at plus 1,000, I fucking love Acuna.
And what's scary, 2Ks, is there's 3 Padres on this list. I mean, granted, there's 2 Dodgers on this list. But I love the fact that they're giving Manny Machado this much love, because I took a flyer on him for the NL MVP last year at probably plus 1,800. And the way he started the season, I'm like, this is easy fucking money.
Yeah.
Easy money. And then he kind of died. I mean, not that he died off. He ended up having his kind of quid pro quo year, which is still very good. Still very good. But, yeah, I saw this and I was like, holy shit. And do we know when is Tatis back opening day?
I believe so. I'm not 100% on that, but
I was leaning towards yes as well. And I think the only question with him is they can't have him at shortstop. They can't. I mean, not everyday shortstop. I mean, hell, you have 4 shortstops on your team, and you just went and signed Xander Bogaerts. So that just common sense.
you have to put him in a position. It doesn't fucking matter where you play him on defense, because they, like you said, they have so many shortstops already. You line up Tatis wherever you believe you can get 155, 156 games out of him in a season, and he's going to stay healthy. Where's his best odds of staying healthy at?
Put his ass in left
Put him
field.
out there. I don't give a fuck what he does on that side of the ball. It's what he can do at the plate is what's important. What he can do on the bases, everything that he brings to you is what on the offensive side of the ball is what's important to me. You just need to have him out there.
And if Kyle Schwarber can play left field,
right?
I have a feeling Tatis can play left field. So let's go from NL MVP to home run 2Ks. And 2K crew, this might be a little hard to read, so I'll go ahead and read it for you. This is from Covers on Twitter. Spring training, which we talked about if it started today or tomorrow, and then according to Covers here on Twitter, spring training begins tomorrow, which means it's time to dabble in some MLB futures. And 2K crew, if you are betting, folks, which I think most of us are nowadays, this is when you want to get in on these futures, because I guarantee at the All-Star break for Judge to lead the league in home runs was probably about minus 120, because it was kind of a lock, or the odds might even been worse. It's plus 600. Plus 600. And shockingly enough, Mike Trout is plus 800 at 2. Then Alonso, Alvarez, Schwartz, Vladdy Jr. Who the hell is that? Then Austin Riley, Tatis Jr. Ohtani is that low. Then Matt Olson. I think out of this list, 2Ks, I'd throw a 20 spot on Ohtani.
Yeah, I was thinking Vladdy. I like Vladdy.
I mean, Vladdy's plus 1,200. Ohtani's plus 1,500.
I'm not gonna lie to you though. If I'm gonna, I would not be afraid to put some decent money on Aaron Judge at the plus 600. To me, that's a steal.
Plus 600 is
the field that he plays on, the lineup that he's in. I mean,
that's it. The like we said, the only question mark is health.
Yeah.
How many games does he play?
Yeah.
If he plays 150 games, that's a lock.
Yeah.
That's
to me,
a
at
lock.
plus 600, that's a bet I'm willing to put.
Oh yeah.
Put some money on and take a chance. To me, that's not even really taking a chance. If he plays and he's healthy, he's going to be right at the top of that list and have a very good shot at winning that.
Yeah, one of the only reasons I'm a very big Ohtani fan on this is it's his walk year.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, what was it, last year, the year before, he led the league in home runs. Mm-hmm. And he also was like in top 3 in ERA and shit like that. So it's not uncommon for him to do this.
I think it's safe to say, I know we didn't have the list of the American League MVPs, but he's got to be the top of that. He would be my pick.
I'm sure him and Trout are very, very top.
Yeah. Aaron Judge is going to be right. It's got to be right there in that list again. The thing is, I don't think Judge has the over 60 home runs, which basically gift wrapped the MVP to him last year. To where if you look at all around numbers, obviously Ohtani is the guy. But when you're playing on a team that's not even competing, and then you have a team with the Yankees who are, what were they, 2 seed or 3 seed going into the playoffs?
2.
So, and you hit over 60 home runs, something that hasn't been done in years. Something that, most home runs in Yankees history. So,
Andy did it, hitting over 300.
Yeah.
Over 100 RBIs. So, his numbers, rightfully so, he won the MVP. We're not saying he stole it from Shohei by any means. But without that historic run of home runs, I don't think he wins that. Mm-hmm. I don't think he wins that. I think, again, and I hope to God, 2Ks, we don't get into the whole, like, we're used to Shohei being this good, so let's try to find somebody else to give it to bullshit. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the Michael Jordan treatment, the Mike Trout treatment. I hope we're past that by now.
Sure.
I hope we are, just because we're not only seeing a great talent with Shohei, we're seeing something that's never been done before. Mm-hmm. We've seen 62 home runs. Granted, you and I, we were alive during the 98 season. I was very, very plugged into that. Were there some other circumstances that were clouding that? Sure. But you know what? It saved baseball. It is what it is. Let's move on. We've seen that. We've never seen a pitcher on Ohtani's MVP season hit 50. I think he hit 50 home runs and was had a below 3 ERA. Come on. Now, last year everyone's like, and we posed this question last year, because I can't remember who was. Maybe it was Aaron Boone or something. No, it wasn't Aaron Boone. I can't remember who was preaching, from the rooftops that Ohtani deserves the MVP over Judge. Where I think all of us were just kind of like, well, Judge is doing something spectacular. Mm-hmm. PED free, mind you, and allegedly, and so that deserves recognition. And like I said, I hope we don't get eye blind or nose blind or whatever you want to call it to this, because he is something very, very special, and we need to remember that. And like I said, I hope it continues. I hope it continues. Since we were talking about the Cy Young with Ohtani, AL Cy Young. What do you know? Ohtani's number 1. Garrett Cole, number 2. Valdez, number 3. Alex Manoah, who we talked about, number 4. Shane McClanahan, number 5. Dylan Cease, who we were kind of alluding to with the White Sox earlier. Carlos Rodon. Who the hell is he playing for?
Giants still.
Is he with the Giants still? I knew he was bouncing around, and I wasn't sure where he was going.
Right back with the Giants.
Which, for that to kind of go unnoticed is a travesty in and of itself. How good he's pitching.
To me, that's the one where you start talking about the White Sox and how they kind of just fell out of contention. Yeah. They got rid of the wrong arm, and easy to do when you think about some of the numbers that some of those other guys were doing, but when it comes down to it, Carlos Rodon was the one that they should have kept.
Yeah. Get rid of Giolito.
Yep.
That's
who it is. Dylan Cease stay.
Yeah.
Giolito was the one that they decided to invest in, and it should have been Rodon. And at the time, Giolito was coming off the big year, and so I understand why they did it. And hindsight's 20/20. But I mean, what we're seeing now is Carlos Rodon has went on to pitch, tremendously, to where Giolito's just been,
And breaking news too, Kicker, Giolito's name isn't even on this list. No, it's probably not even in the top 30 or 40. But after Rodon is DeGrom, Shane Bieber, and Luis Castillo. So quite the list here, 2K. So granted, this is just for the AL. I think it goes without saying, you and I both really like Manoah. But I think Garrett Cole's a little bit too favored on this list, and that's not the Yankee hater in me.
Carlos Rodon, this says he's on the Yankees.
What? Is it really? That picture says it's on the Yankees?
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe.
If he's with the AL, he can't be on the Giants.
Yeah, I thought he stayed with the Giants, but no, Yankees. So, wow.
Like I said, fuck. If this signing isn't bigger news, then I mean, for a player this good,
fucking Yankees.
But I honestly, Garrett Cole's nasty, but he had a horrible season last year.
Yeah. I like Rodon better. I mean, now that he's a Yankee, I like him better. I think right now, in this point of their careers, he's the. Cole's got a lot of miles on that arm. I like.
And they probably got Rodon for a quarter of the price. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I honestly think this is Ohtani's title to lose, not anyone else's to win. I think it's his to lose.
I like Jacob deGrom. I really do. I think him, a change of scenery. Mm-hmm. Look, it wasn't like he was pitching like shit. He's been pitching. No. When he's healthy, he's pitching probably maybe the best pitcher in all of baseball. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to believe the run support's going to come up. He's going to get some more wins, because what's sad is if you look at his numbers, like ERA, strikeouts, they're at the top.
Yeah.
But wins and losses, he gets no fucking wins because he gets no fucking run support. How many times has that guy got a no decision and only gave up one run?
Yeah.
Or a no decision and doesn't even give up a run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like what Texas has done with their lineup. They're getting better. They're improving. They've added some big-time names. I have to believe that...
Got a great farm system.
But you could say the same. I mean, the Mets lineup, there's no reason to look at the Mets and say, this team can't put up runs. They do all the time, but they couldn't do it when he was pitching.
No,
So to me, DeGrom gets in some different scenery, kind of a restart here. I like DeGrom to win the Cy Young.
My only question with DeGrom is the weather.
Mm-hmm.
It's hot as fuck in Texas. Ball flies when it's hot. And it's not like Michigan hot where it's muggy.
Sure.
That's dry heat. Ball flies far. And the only thing that I'm half not worried about is DeGrom misses bats a lot.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, hard to hit home runs when you can't touch it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, I mean, it is what it is. And
To me, to have him on number 8 on this list is a slap in the
travesty.
face. Like, what the fuck? This is the guy. This guy. Look, I love the story of Ohtani, and I love that he can do both things. Both, you know, kind of play both ways. And I think he's a great pitcher, but I don't think pitching wise he's above all these other guys. Some of these other guys on the list. There's no way. Just pitching the baseball that I can have him better than DeGrom, have him better than Garrett Cole, have him better than. I can't even go as I can't. I would say Alex Manoah falls in above him pitching wise. That's just where I'm at on it.
And if Manoah could put together an entire season, it seems like he can put together a first half or a last half. If he can put together an entire season, I think you see his name go up. I mean, to be at 4 is awesome.
Yeah,
Is awesome.
yeah and Manoah's a guy that's only been in the league now for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So he's just starting to get his feet wet.
And he's the ace of the staff.
Yeah, he's getting nothing but better. He's going to be a guy that's going to be at the top of this list for a long time.
Well, let's look at the NL Cy Young here, 2Ks. We got Alcantara, Burns, Paramets, Verlander and Scherzer, Max Fried, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Spencer Strider, Zach Gallen, Brandon Woodruff. Shout out to you, Boozy. And I think the way Alcantara threw the ball last year, it's hard not to have him on the top of this list. The only thing is it's hard to put him over the reigning, granted AL Cy Young Award winner in Verlander. And now that the NL has a DH, you really can't say that the AL is a harder league. And even if the AL is a harder league, I think you got to put Verlander at the top of this list. He's on a better team.
Yeah.
Corbin Burns is a stud. Don't get me wrong. We've all seen what Max Scherzer can do. Max Fried is still kind of
Spencer fucking Strider, man.
Yeah. These Braves pitchers, young as fuck.
I like Spencer Strider. I like him a lot. Do I think he's ready to compete for a top spot in this? Maybe not. But then again, Sandy Alcantara kind of
came out of nowhere.
So, but yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think Verlander should probably be at the top of this list just from what he's done in the past, what he did just last year.
I honestly think it goes Verlander, Scherzer, Alcantara, or Verlander, Scherzer, Burns, Alcantara. Not to take anything away from any of those guys, but I think, and I'm going off just resume alone. I have to, just the camaraderie with Verlander is going to push Scherzer, same, and vice versa. Those guys are competitors to the max, and their team's very good. Mm-hmm. The Marlins aren't that good. They're kind of wishy-washy. Yeah. Burns, I'm not sure what that team's about. You and I were trying to figure out that team all last year. Mm-hmm. But the Mets are good. The Braves are good. The Phillies are good, which is probably why you see a lot of their pitchers on this list. But yeah, in my opinion, Verlander, Scherzer, Burns, then Alcantara. Not to say that if Alcantara has another repeat season, he slides into that 3 or 2 spot for me if any one of those guys have a hiccup.
Yeah, I agree.
2Ks, we're about at that hour mark, so let's bypass my Red Sox talk and let's Jason says, got a lady messaging me, have to go Tigers. That's funny. What's his name? Let's talk about the Tigers, and I pulled some tweets here, 2Ks, and it all kind of I think this is all encompassing. I think this will, as far as the conversation about the Tigers go, it starts with this, and I think it kind of ends with this, and we'll kind of get every side from it. This is from our friends over at Woodward Tigers, and if you do not follow them on Twitter, please do. If you are a Tigers fan, they are an amazing follow. Is A.J. Hinch the right man to lead the Detroit Tigers? And 2Ks, before you give me your opinion, I'm gonna read some tweets because I guarantee there's some folks that agree with you, and I guarantee there's some folks that disagree with you, and there's one of them that's completely in left field. So let's take a walk down Tigers Twitter. Okay, like I said, Red Sox Twitter is insane. There's 3/4 of the folks that want to get rid of the GM and the owner, and there's the other part that are like, stay the course. Now with the Tigers, at 3/4, I'm not saying about the ownership, but they haven't even let the new guy do anything. They're like, fuck this team.
Yeah.
Fuck this team. So I was kind of shocked and kind of refreshed that it wasn't just the Red Sox that everybody hated. But Phoenix Sports and Travel and Photography says 2021 was a year overachievement. In 2022, a mix of injuries and regression towards the mean. He hasn't been given a team good enough to compete. He's intelligent, won in Houston, trash can aside, has built a good staff around him. No reason not to believe he isn't the answer. Let me give you another one. This is from Anthony Ray. I think he is going to have to show some growth this year, at least where they were 2 years ago. Which I agree with. Not to say that Hench's seat is hot by any means, but at least to get some fan approval and at least get some mojo back in the building, you got to be better than what they were 2 years ago. Anthony Rolston at The Real Priapus. Not sure what the hell that is. He's not as optimistic. Nobody can lead this current roster to a winning record. They did nothing to get better. Nothing. They'll be lucky not to lose 100 games. So we've got kind of both sides working here, 2Ks. We got kind of, like I said, this is all encompassing. And the last one here, this is from NFL Fun at Tigers _fan_2023. This guy changes his Twitter for each Tigers season. This guy's got to be locked in, right? This guy's got to be locked in. Nope. His hire is disgusting. You know, every umpire is well aware Detroit has a manager connected to cheating the game. The fact alone likely could have an effect on close calls in any game, right down to balls and strikes. Some things are not forgotten. So 2K crew, you know which one is completely in left field. And
that's a guy. That's a Tigers fan that has just been. He's just over it. You know, we've been promised so much. We're gonna be better. We're not.
He's at his wit's end.
We go backwards. We start going. Everything starts going forward, moving, and we're happy. Yep. And then we're just starting to go fucking backwards. And then we were told, that we're gonna go through this rebuild. Well, we're in fucking year 6 of this rebuild now, and now all of a sudden it's almost like we're rebuilding again. We're rebuilding in the middle of a rebuild.
You're rebuilding the rebuild.
Yeah. And so I get it, man. I'm frustrated too, but AJ Hinch is not the problem. He's not.
NFL Fun. AJ Hinch is the correct guy.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. I mean, maybe in 2 or 3 more years, I'll be up here saying that I'm wrong, and I was wrong about it. But at this point right now, I believe he's the guy. I believe he's very sharp. He knows the game. I think he has a very good relationship with all the players. I think the players all speak very highly of him. Other managers in baseball speak very highly of him. He has surrounded himself with other young, good talent as far as coaching in that coaching staff, some young talent in that staff that I think other teams would be pretty interested in. Unfortunately, I think what Hinch had to go through and has had to battle through since he's been in Detroit is some of the staff that was already there that he didn't have a fucking choice.
No.
He doesn't have a choice on who manages in Toledo and who is the hitting coach and who is all these different coaches and who are these scouts that are going out and scouting talent and who are these guys that are, working with this young talent when they first get there. He doesn't get that. He doesn't. No. He wasn't dealing with that. That was already set in place before he even showed up in Detroit. So let's be honest with ourselves. We're in this situation. We were in this situation because Dave Dombrowski.
Yes.
Dave Dombrowski
Been there, done that.
he got rid of. Now, was it fun? in the time? Absolutely, it was fucking fun. We were bringing in whoever the fuck we wanted.
Yeah.
At whatever cost.
Had a
and
big
it didn't
checkbook
matter.
and a
Yes,
deep
it
farm
didn't matter.
system while he was there, but when he left, there was no money
farm.
left
There
and
was
no farm system left.
at all, and it was gone. So he started that, and we needed to go through a rebuild. And I think everybody, I know for me, I can't speak for everybody, but I think for myself, I was okay with it because we were blessed with having so many good years. We got to watch Miguel Cabrera in a triple crown. We got to watch Justin Verlander take the mound with Max
MVP
Scherzer.
season.
Yes, yes. We got to watch Max Scherzer with that. We got to watch, the list goes on with pitchers. Anibal Sanchez was great when the time that he was there. Then we made a trade and brought David Price, another generational pitcher. In that time, we brought him and we were able to watch him. And we got to watch Prince Fielder when he was, come in there and bat
2 years.
in a lineup behind Miguel Cabrera, and you had two of the most feared batters in all of baseball, batting 3 and 4 in a lineup. And then you brought Victor Martinez into that, and we got to watch. So we were blessed with so many good things out of that Dave Dombrowski era, to where I couldn't really hate him at the end. Like, yeah, he got rid of a shit ton, but it was
did his
fun
job.
while it lasted. Yes, absolutely. And then this guy by the name of Al Avila took over.
Terrible.
And he just fucking made all of the wrong decisions every single time. Like, you can't look back on any of his trades and think, well, we got the better half of that one. He really fucked up every single one. I can't think of any of them where he made the right choice. I can't think of any free agent accusations that he made the right choice on. He fucked up everything.
Jason's back, by the way.
Over and over and over again. Fucked it all up.
He says go Whitecaps, too.
And so I think the only thing that Al Avila did right in all of it was hire A.J. Hinch as their manager.
Absolutely.
So now, as shitty as it sounds and as unfortunate as it is, we have to sit back and let Scott Harris do his job now. They hired him for a reason. I think he's very, very sharp. I think he's going
very
to
highly
surround
talented.
himself with other very, very sharp individuals.
Yep.
And is it going to be good here in this year? Is it going to be good next year? Probably not. But that's what a rebuild is. Unfortunately, we're having to rebuild inside of a rebuild. So this wasn't supposed to happen. If they would have got a guy like Scott Harris, in my opinion, back when Dombrowski left, I think we would be in a different place right now. But instead, we got Al Avila, and he fucked up.
Yeah, he was definitely not the he's not the executive you want after a Dave Dombrowski.
Somebody,
tenure.
you mean somebody that never fucking did it? Yeah,
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And you're right. When we went through this with the Red Sox with Dombrowski.
Well, Al Avila is a branch off of Dave Dombrowski. He's worked under Dave Dombrowski. He followed suit and now is working with Dave Dombrowski again.
Oh, I wouldn't hire him again.
But that's what he does. Like, that's what he's good at. He's not. Now, why in the fuck would you hire him and think this is going to be the guy that's going to fix it now after? He knows that style of going out and buying whatever you want and winning baseball that way. But he doesn't know how to start from the bottom and work his way up. That does not fall in his category. So
is it kind of like the Bill Belichick tree? I mean, it seems like every assistant Belichick's had or coordinator goes off and does their own thing.
Can't
Sucks.
do it. Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Hell, we even saw Matt Patricia come back, and he was terrible coming back.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, maybe it's something like that. I don't know, but yeah, he was definitely not the answer in Detroit that I think.
No.
And
look, it makes it really fucking hard when some of those guys that you add on to your roster, or some of those guys that have been there for 3-4 years now, when they don't put up numbers that they should put up, it makes you look really, really bad.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, look, there's a lot of players that have been good for. I'm not saying that they've been all-stars, but they've been very good baseball players. Javi Baez has been a fucking all-star.
Yeah.
He's an all-star caliber player. He did not live up to that.
No.
Jonathan Scope has been a very, very solid baseball player. He was a solid baseball player when he was in Baltimore. He was very good for Detroit in the first couple years he was there. He didn't live up to that last year. All the hype on Spencer Torkelson. He was supposed to be one of our saviors, the first pick of the draft.
Yeah.
He did not live up to those expectations that we had for him. Same thing can kind of be said for Riley Green. Look, I know it was a lot shorter of time because he had to deal with the injury in the beginning of it all and wasn't able to start. but so we saw him more towards the middle of the season. And I think he came off really, really hot, but then he kind of just settled right in, and the numbers just started going down as the season went, as the season progressed. He's going to improve too. So, do I think the Tigers are going to be competing for anything? No. But do I think the Tigers can do kind of similar to what AJ Hinch did in his first year in Detroit?
Yeah.
Where they can win and, maybe be in that
Sneak up to 500.
82 to 87 game, I'm saying, you lose that amount of games. So that means you're winning about the same amount of games. Yeah. If they can play right around that 500 baseball, I don't see a reason why that team can't do it. There's some injuries on the pitching staff already that scare me a little bit. We're not going to have Casey Mize. We're not going to have Tariq Skubal for the foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. So those guys being gone, those are huge losses. But I think that they filled it in with serviceable pitchers. Mm-hmm. Their bullpen, even though they've gotten rid of a couple big names in the bullpen, I still think that's one area where they actually had some pretty good, decent depth. Mm-hmm. But the lineup itself, to me, I think with some of these names, like I just talked about, Torkelson, he's going to be better. Riley Green is going to be better. Baez has got to be better. Scope's going to be better. Like, they're going to put up better numbers. Candelario was fucking dog shit last year. Yeah. He's gone now. Now you made the trade when you brought over the two young guys from the Phillies, guys that know that have played postseason baseball and know how to win. Maybe bringing that over. Matt Vierling, I like that pickup. He can play multiple positions. I think he's going to be a pretty good bat to add in there. The Nick Maton or Maton, however the fuck you say it. I like him too. He's a left-handed bat. He can play all the positions in the infield. Mm-hmm. So, do they have anybody that just jumps off at me? No. But I think that they have guys where they can play. If this team, they're young, this team can be. I think they're going to surprise some people and play.
I hope so.
They're not going to shock people and win a division, and they're not going to shock people and be right there in the thick of things. But I think they're going to shock people and just playing good baseball. AJ Hinch is a good manager, and I think he gets that out of this team.
Yeah, that's.
And I hope for Miguel Cabrera's sake, it's not an embarrassing.
No.
Like, this is it. This is the final year of his career. Like, let's just have a fucking 500 season and just have it not be an embarrassment.
Let's send him out the right way. Yeah. Send him out the right way. I 100% agree with you. And let's be honest. Baseball's better when the Tigers are competitive. Just because you're more engaged in baseball.
Yeah. Last year I fucking just stopped. I stopped with baseball.
Yeah, which makes the show better, which makes me happier, which makes you a better friend. Mm-hmm. And I want to see you happy. I want to see you happy.
I want to be happy. And the Tigers have made it very hard for me here in recent years. Look, that guy, I don't remember his name, but the guy that changes his names and totally went off. Do I think that AJ Hinch is making any differences with umpires?
No.
Look, the Tigers were losing games and it didn't have shit to do with umpires last year. So I ain't worried about that.
No.
But as far as the frustration goes, I feel you, dog. I feel you, man. Like, I'm tired of this shit just as much as anybody else. There's not a sports team in the world that I root for more than the Detroit Tigers. And for it to be this long of a drought that we've been in, God damn, I want out. I want to be happy again.
Well, you've had success with your Michigan Wolverines, where for a few years, everything was kind of dismal.
Everything was gone. Yeah.
Now you got a banger, and you can ask any musician. Once you get one banger, you want all of them to be bangers.
I like it. Michigan's playing better.
Yeah.
Just for Detroit's sake, though.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
be a fucking joke.
I feel like we finally got the right guy, and Dan Campbell coaching the Lions,
yes.
and I think good things are on the horizon for the Lions. I think the Lions are a playoff football team next year.
The Red Wings are
young,
very, very
and they're
good.
Very talented, and they got homeboy Steve Yzerman back in town running things there. I love that situation. I think that they're up and coming. They're still a little bit away from it, but I think they're going to be a team that competes here. They're already competing this year with a very, very young, talented group.
I want to say that I saw a tweet that they're 2 points out of a playoff spot with 4 games to go.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So that to me is huge. Like, to get them going. The Pistons. Obviously you have Cunningham, who's been out pretty much all season long. Not going to play another game this year. But both rookies this year have been just phenomenal. So, and you're going to think they're going to have another top 2 or 3 pick in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, the Pistons they're close and they're working that way, and so
They get tanked for that big ass dude,
now it's
whatever
And,
his name is. But yeah,
yeah, the long starts with a W, with like 16 letters in it. Yeah,
Blaskovich.
yeah. So the Pistons are on the right track. It's really now it's we're waiting on these Tigers and how long is this going to take?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're the team right now in Detroit that is the furthest away from any kind of major success.
But what the one thing I can guarantee you that will happen at Comerica Stadium, 2K Crew, is I guarantee they move the weekday games up, the game times from like 7:05 to 6:30 something. So if you are making plans, make sure you accommodate for that. And I have a feeling because it's Miggy's last year, you're going to pay a little bit more for those tickets.
And they waited. That's the other thing that just fucking pissed me off is you wait until the year that Miggy's retiring to move the fucking walls in.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, what the fuck, man? You imagine Miguel Cabrera's numbers. His career numbers are already off the fucking charts, insane. Mm-hmm. Especially with what he did just in a period of time. Because you got to kind of take the last 4 or 5 seasons for him and just throw them in the trash can because they've been very injury riddled.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, this guy's body just broke down. But what we watched out of him for a 5-6 year stretch there in Detroit was unbelievable. Put him in Chicago. Put him in New York.
Or Philly. Or
any
anywhere.
of those stadiums during that 5 or 6 year stretch that we got to watch out of him.
He's hitting 50 home runs.
Yeah.
I mean, probably 30 of them to right center.
How many home runs or how many flyouts has that guy hit? 415 fucking feet to straightaway center, and that center fielder just catches it on the warning track.
Maybe Castellanos wasn't full of shit.
Yeah. Oh, hell no, he wasn't. To me, Castellanos, that when he left and went to Chicago with the Cubs and the Wrigley, that field is made for him.
Oh, yeah.
The short power alleys.
Why they did not keep him
gap
is
hitter like
absolutely
him.
beyond me.
I thought he should have stuck around with the Cubs. To me, that was one that the Cubs let get away.
Yeah. Well, 2Ks, let's jump into our top 5 here. Today, 2K Crew, we are doing, I really didn't know what to call it because we're doing top 5 tailgate foods, but I wanted to expand it to where foods where your top 5 foods you're eating watching a game. But I thought that was way too long, so I shortened it to tailgate foods. Sure. So, regardless of what game you're at, top 5 foods, whether you're at the stadium, which I'm not expecting like individual things from stadiums, just overall, top 5 foods while watching a game. Number 5, 2K's go.
All right, so I'm not a big fan of. Don't get me wrong. I get down on it on my own house or in a restaurant or something. You never can go wrong with a good bar cheeseburger. But if I'm getting ready for a game or I'm tailgating or anything like that, I want the sliders. Give me some sliders.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. I'm going hot dog.
All right.
Stadium hot dog. Because I don't care who you are. Anytime you go to a ball game, you got to get a burger or a dog and a beer. You got it. So my number 5 is the hot dog.
Yeah.
Now, the one that really surprises me is when you go down to South Bend and watch South Bend Cubs game. If you're into sauerkraut, which I'm not, until you go get real traditional Polish sauerkraut, oh my God. It will blow your mind and lighten the shit out of you. So if you're ever in South Bend watching a game, I highly recommend getting a dog. And they have it in the, like, you don't have the special order. It's in, like, the condiment section. Mm-hmm. Just fucking kraut. Throw it on there.
Yeah.
Throw it on there. What's your number 4?
Number 4, another one that, I don't know anybody that doesn't like this. And I can eat it any time, but I love eating it for, whether we're tailgating, whether I have people over at the house watching a game. You can feed a ton of people with it. Pizza.
Yeah.
Pizza. Put anything you want on it. I don't give a fuck. I just love pizza.
I mean, who doesn't love pizza? I mean,
exactly.
It's kind of like that, you can't please everyone. You're not pizza. I mean, hell, even vegans can eat pizza
It
nowadays.
it doesn't even matter either where you get it from, like, or if you want to make it yourself, whatever.
Yeah.
You can never fail with it. Like, grab a fucking $5 hot and ready.
Yeah, pizza's good. Pizza's good. My number 4, I'm going nachos. I'm going nachos because, again, like pizza, you can put anything you want. Anything. I mean, I'm not a tomato guy. I'm not a guac guy. Give me chips, cheese, liquid cheese. That's key. Liquid cheese, lettuce, onion, pretty much everything but the tomatoes and the guac. A little sour cream, maybe a little ranch. I'm game. And like you said, can feed a shit ton of people. I mean, you could just take a pizza pan, spread your nachos out, toppings, more nachos, toppings, more nachos, throw it in the oven, melt it up, put some runny cheese on it, bam, instant classic.
Yeah.
Instant classic. What's your number 3?
Number 3 on my list is not really a filler food. It's more of a snacking food. But if you ever see me at a basketball game, at a football game, at a baseball game, whatever, you're probably always going to see me have at least a bag of this popcorn.
Yeah, that's my number 3 as well.
Fucking popcorn.
I think it's classic.
Yeah.
It's classic.
Never can go wrong with it.
Any
I
sporting
spend the
event.
whole night picking it out of my fucking teeth.
Yes.
And I hate every minute of that. But as far as like,
worth it.
it's just like one of those things where I go to a sporting event, a movie, anything like that, I grab a bag of popcorn,
Yeah.
put as much butter as I can on it. Yeah.
Do you ever go ranch dressing seasoning on it?
I never go that far, no.
Oh, you should.
Really?
If you like ranch,
I do like ranch. I like butter more.
well, put the butter on it because the butter helps the ranch seasoning stick to the popcorn.
There you go.
So, next
I'll
level.
try it.
Or the cheese, the cheese flavoring. Like I said, you gotta have butter to make it stick or to help stick. What's your number 2?
Number 2, I was back and forth on these. I got one that I eat all the time at games. But number 2, I'm going to go chicken wings. More of a tailgating food, something I'm not going to get chicken wings when I go to a game
Right.
and eat them. But as far as just sitting around my house or a restaurant bar watching a game,
Yeah, absolutely.
I fucking love wings. Wings and beer, that's probably my favorite thing in the whole world to do is to go to a bar, drink beer, and eat wings.
Now, see, my number 2 is pizza, and I'm going to follow it up with my number 1 is wings, because you can never go wrong with a little pie and fly. Can never go wrong. Those two are meant to be together when it comes to a sporting event, and both of them are, like, going back to the nachos, both of them are so versatile. They even make vegan wings now, which I'm not really sure what the hell they are, but they make vegan
Yeah.
wings. So whether you like them hot, whether you like, I'm a big garlic parm fan. I do like some spicy shit, but the older I get, it doesn't really like me. So you can never go wrong with a little bit of garlic parm. For me, though, when it comes to wings, I need bone in.
As far as the flavor, the taste, bone in all day long.
Which you and I have went back and forth on this a lot.
It's the convenience of boneless wings where you can just you can eat them so fast. And I'm a fast eater. I don't like eating slow. I like to just
You don't
bust
like
through
cold
that
food
shit.
either.
And I feel like if it's taking me too long to eat, then other people can grab and eat more. So I feel like I can get more down, and it's mine. If I can just keep on going and don't have to worry about it. It gets weird too with the whole dipping into, if you want ranch, you want to dip. It gets weird with the bone in.
That's why you take the fork and you put the fork in the dip, then you spread it on the wing.
I don't have time for that shit. Like it's time, we got to eat. So, and I think I used to never really be that way when I was single, living on my own, like nothing. I would sit down and I had all the time in the world. But now, when you had 3 little kids, like you don't get that time to just sit down and enjoy your meal. So when you eat, it's on the fly, and you're normally hauling ass through it, or they're trying to grab off of your plate too. So I'm like, no. So that's where it's the convenience for me is why I'm more of a boneless guy. But you're right. I mean, if I'm going for just flavor and just enjoy wings, give me the bones and all the paper towel napkins I can get.
Are you drummy or flat guy?
Flats.
Give me the flats all day.
Flats.
Take your drummies, shove them right up your ass, give me the flat, and I can clean them all. There's no meat left at all. So that leaves us with your number 1, top 5 tailgate / foods to eat at a sporting event. 2Ks, go.
Number 1, you already said it, but I'm a different version of it. My favorite sport is baseball. My favorite sport to go and watch is Major League Baseball. I love going, and pretty much every time I go to a Major League game, give me them fucking helmet nachos, man. I want the helmet nachos completely full, over the top.
Not the helmet ice cream, the helmet nachos. Huh?
Yes, and then when you get done with it, you get the fucking helmet too. You get souvenir. You get a big ass thing of nachos. You eat the whole thing, and you get a fucking souvenir. Now, I recommend cleaning it out before you put it on.
Go to the bathroom, rinse it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, for me, all day long, give me those helmets. It's like it's one of those things. Like when I go to a stadium, every fucking stadium does it.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I gotta see what these helmet nachos are all about.
I love it. Well, 2K crew, we gave you about an extra half an hour. That's how passionate we are about baseball.
Food.
Yeah. I honestly thought I was coming into this a little tired. Not really in the right mindset. We've had some good energy today.
Yeah.
Had a lot of, I think it's because it's the first baseball show. Mm-hmm. We've been pining over this since November.
Yeah.
November.
And anytime you can give me the stage and let me talk about food too. I tend to get a little excited about food.
Well, as you can tell, I don't think either one of us have missed a meal in a while. So yeah, we're definitely a good resource on food. But anything else you want to wrap up here, 2Ks? I'm pretty sure our boy Jason is still watching.
Fucking Jason.
Obviously, the message from his lady friend really didn't go that well. Because he came back really, really quick. Got a lady message me, you have to go Tigers. I'm back, go Whitecaps. And then you were talking about the Tigers, and he says, is Kyle talking about me fucking everything up? I think we both were, to be honest with you.
No, Jason, he's actually, every time I see him, he says that he's listening to us. I'm like, well, cool as hell, man.
Good.
Love it.
We appreciate you. And Jason, definitely, we appreciate you, chatting along with us. It makes the show a little bit more interactive, a little bit more fun for us as well. So, and I'm sure the folks that are watching will
have
agree.
to get some more of the MEC family tuning in and watching us. I've only worked there for going up on a year now, but I think probably most of the people in that building don't think I ever talk. And if anybody really knows me personally, I really don't talk a whole lot. Other than kind of my inner circle, that's pretty much it. But I don't really jump out of that circle a whole lot. So, but yeah, that's what the one thing about when we started this was like, I love to talk about sports. Mm-hmm. I love talking to sports more. If I could choose anybody to talk sports about, it's going to be you. Mm-hmm. And I think we talked about that so many times before we ended up starting this.
It's about 2 years before we actually started it.
But when it all came down to it, it was like, I really don't like to fucking talk. I like to talk to myself, and I like to talk to you inside my house or inside of a bar or inside your house, but I don't know about talking in public to people listening to us.
Now we just need to work on our buddy Tyler Coffey.
Yeah.
The same. You see, you can coach him through this.
Yeah.
You've been there. You've done that.
Yeah.
2K crew, I got to piss like a racehorse. We got to get out of here. We will see you next week. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you all for listening. As always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.